All right, what we want to do here is look at the dividing polynomials practice test. And specifically, we're going to look at problems 9 and 10. So let's go down here and take a look at number 9. Okay, so this guy right here. And then also it's going to be number 10. Okay, so go ahead and pop open your practice test so you can follow along. And I'm just going to start on number 9. So let me just label this here so we're not confused. So this is number 9, okay, from the practice test. And what I want to first do is just set this up in long division format. So this guy right here, no missing terms, I can just copy it. So 6x to the 4th power plus 3x cubed minus 17x squared minus 7x plus 7. Okay, so that's the first guy. Then I'm just going to set up my little long division here, okay? And I want to take this guy and put it over here, right, my divisor, but notice that you're missing x to the 1st power, okay? So if you're missing something, you want to put that guy with basically a 0 as the coefficient. So I'm going to put 3x squared here, and then I'm going to go plus 0x. You could do 0x to the 1st power, doesn't matter, and then minus 7. Okay, so we need that placeholder there for things to work out. Now, I'm just going to drag this down just a little bit so I can get some room. So I'm going to drag this down here. And let's scroll down a little bit, okay, so we have some room to work. Now, when you do a long division problem, you want to follow the D, and I put B there, so D, M, S, B, R. Okay, so this keeps you in line with the steps. So D for division, M for multiply, S for subtraction, B for bring down, and then R for repeat or remainder. So you just keep doing this over and over and over again until you get to the point where you basically have a remainder of 0, meaning there's no remainder, or you have some remainder, okay? So let's go ahead and get started with the division process. And what you do here is you go leading term into leading term. So I want to take this guy right here and divide it by this guy right here, okay? So I'm just going to do 6x to the 4th power divided by 3x squared, okay? So if I divide 6 by 3, I get 2, okay? X to the 4th power divided by x squared is going to be x squared. All right, so this is 2x squared. So I want to put it here where it's 2x squared like this. So let's go ahead and erase this, and erase this, and erase this. Okay, so now we've done our division. We want to multiply. So we're doing 2x squared times this entire thing. So 2x squared times 3x squared will give me 6x to the 4th power. Then 2x squared times 0x, you can do that if you want. Let's just put plus. I'm going to put 0x cubed. Okay, we know this is 0, but just putting it in as a placeholder. Then 2x squared times negative 7 would be minus 14x squared. Okay, now here comes the tricky thing. One place where people make a mistake very often, you need to subtract this entire polynomial away. Okay, so you can wrap this in parentheses and put a minus out in front. That's what I used to do to remind myself that I need to subtract. Or you can just change the signs, right? So in other words, I can just come through here and say this is a minus, this is a minus, and this is a plus. Basically, it's like distributing that negative in, and then I can just add, right? So 6x to the 4th power minus 6x to the 4th power, you can just cancel those, right? That's going to be 0. Then this guy right here, you can basically just, and I'll put a line down here. So this is just going to be 3x cubed. You can just ignore this and bring this down, right? Because it's basically 0. Then this guy right here, negative 17x squared, then plus 14x squared. This is going to be minus 3x squared. Okay, so at this point, we've done our subtraction, okay? And we want to now go to the bring down. So what can I bring down? I have this guy right here. So this negative 7x. Okay, so now I want to start the process over, right? I want to repeat or remainder. I'm not at a remainder, so I'm going to repeat the process, and I start with division. Now I'm working down here. So this is my leading term here. This is still my leading term here, okay? So what I want to do is go 3x cubed divided by 3x squared. Okay, so what is this going to be? Well, 3 divided by 3 is 1, okay? And then x cubed over x squared is just going to be x to the 1st power. So this is just going to give me x. So I'm going to put plus x like this, okay? And then again, I want to just multiply. So I want to go to my multiply step. So x times 3x squared is 3x cubed. And then x times 0x, again, if you want to put this down, you can. I'm just going to put plus 0x squared. It's basically 0 because it has a 0 as a coefficient. And then x times negative 7 is just going to be minus 7x. Okay, so if we come through here, again, you can put a minus out in front and then distribute that through. So you can say that what? This is going to be minus. This is going to be minus, and this is going to be plus. Make sure you change your signs, and then you can add. So this is gone, right? It's going to be 0. This, basically, again, this is really not here. It's negative 0 as the coefficient, but that's just 0. And 0 times x squared is just 0, no matter what the value of x was. So I can just bring this down and say I have negative, and I'll just scroll down just a little bit. So negative 3x squared there. And then these guys are going to cancel, so that's gone. okay? So now I've done my subtraction. I'm at my bring down step, okay? And I've only got one more term here, which is this positive 7 here that I can bring down. So I'll put plus 7 here. And then basically at this point, I don't have a remainder yet, so I want to repeat the process. So I'm going to start with division again. So let me do, this is my leading term, this is my leading term, okay? So if I did something like, let's say negative 3x squared, this guy right here, divided by 3x squared, what is that going to give me? Well, basically, this is going to cancel with this, and I just have negative 1, okay? So I'm going to put a negative 1 up here, and then I'm going to multiply through. So negative 1 times 3x squared is negative 3x squared. Then negative 1 times 0x, you can skip this one at this point. I mean, you could put it down there, but again, it's just going to be 0 in the end, okay? Then you have negative 1 times negative 7, which is going to give you positive 7. And you see that these guys match exactly, okay? So remember, what you're doing here, you're wrapping this in parentheses, you're putting a subtraction out in front, and then basically you're going to change the sign. So this is going to end up being positive, and this is going to be negative, and then you add, right? So negative 3x squared plus 3x squared, that's going to cancel and be 0, okay? Positive 7 and negative 7, that's going to cancel and be 0. So you put 0 here, basically you have no remainder. So your answer, if you go back up, is just going to be 2x squared plus x minus 1. Okay, so that's pretty easy overall. And you can verify this by doing 2x squared plus x minus 1, okay, multiplying this by this guy right here, your 3x squared minus 7, okay? If you do this multiplication, you're going to get back to this original dividend, okay? So that's how you can check your work. Okay, let's look at the 10th problem. So I'm going to put number 10 on the worksheet. So here we have x to the 4th power minus 2x squared minus x minus 1, and then over x squared minus 5. So realize that you're missing x cubed there, and you're missing x to the 1st power here, okay? So what I want to do when I set this up is go x to the 4th power, and then plus 0x cubed. Again, I've got to put that in because I'm missing that here. Then minus 2x squared, then minus x, then minus 1. And then what I want to do here is go x squared plus 0x, and then minus 5. Okay, so let me grab this guy, bring this down here, and then let's go ahead and crank out our division. So again, leading term into leading term. So this guy right here, this x to the 4th power, divided by this guy right here, which is x squared. So x to the 4th power divided by x squared is just x squared. So I'm going to put this over here, x squared. All right, so what I'm going to do now is just multiply through. So x squared times x squared is x to the 4th power. X squared times 0x, let's just go ahead and put plus 0x cubed. And then x squared times negative 5, we could put minus 5x squared. Okay, so what do we want to do now? Again, I can put the minus out in front and wrap this in parentheses, but it's quicker once you get going on these to just change all the signs. So I'm going to go minus, I'm going to go minus, and I'm going to go plus. You can just add, right? So this is going to cancel. And then this, you can basically say that's gone. And so you have negative 2x squared plus 5x squared, which is positive 3x squared. Okay, so now we've done our subtraction. We're now going to bring down this negative x, okay? And now we're not at a point where we can stop, so we just repeat the process. So we go leading term divided by leading term there, okay? So I'm going to go 3x squared divided by x squared. And what's going to happen here is this is going to cancel out, and I'm just going to have 3, okay? So I have a missing x there. Okay, some people put plus 0x there. When you're writing your answer, you really don't need to do that. You can put a little space down for formatting if you want. You can put plus 3 like this. It doesn't matter. In the end, you're going to have x squared plus 3. In this particular case, you're going to have a remainder. Sometimes you might not have a remainder. It just depends on the situation. But sometimes in your answer, you'll be missing a power. You do not need to put plus 0x or whatever the missing power is in that situation. Okay, so now we've taken care of that. And let's just go ahead and multiply through. And I did not mean to delete that. So 3 times x squared is 3x squared. And then 3 times 0x, again, you can put this or skip it. It doesn't matter. I'm going to put just 0x there just as a placeholder. And then 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. Okay. So again, you want to change all the signs here. If it helps you, wrap it in parentheses and put the minus out in front. If you don't need it, if you're remembering this, if you're consistent, then just change all the signs. Okay. You don't need that reminder. So I know that this is going to cancel, and I know that negative x, basically minus 0x, you can get rid of this and just say I have negative x, and then plus 15, okay? So now I've done my subtraction. I want to bring something down. So this guy, when it gets brought down, realize that you're just putting this at the end here, okay? 15 minus 1, I can always combine things, okay? I have 15 and I have negative 1. That's just going to give me 14. So I can really just write this on another line and say now I have negative x plus 14, or you can write it in line, whatever you want to do. It's just scratch work, okay? So now when you go to think about doing your division again, you have a little issue because if you think about the leading term here, it's negative x, and the leading term here is x squared, okay? Well, you're not going to be able to continue here because the power here is a 1 and the power here is a 2, okay? Notice how every other time, like if we did x to the 4th power over x squared, well, this power is higher than this one, okay? So you basically just stop at this point and say, okay, well, this guy is going to be my remainder, right? My negative x plus 14, okay? So your answer here is going to be x squared plus 3, okay? And then basically for your remainder, you can go ahead and say plus, I'm going to write this guy as negative x plus 14 over your divisor. So over x squared minus 5.